Howdy y'all, my name is Telios, and I'm a challenge runner. If you watched my last video, you know what time it is. I challenged JK Leeds and Lemon from the backlogs to a Dark Souls 2 challenge. JK declined, as he is, understandably, burnt out on Dark Souls 2. Lemon, sounding like a supervillain, accepted. In order to understand the rules on this challenge, let's get my whiteboard. So, I have 100 great arrows, and I must kill the Twin Dragon Riders, the Looking Glass Knight, the Demon of Song, Veldstad, the Giant Lord, the Throne Watcher and Defender, and Nissandra. All other bosses are optional. I can use Cheat Engine to boost endurance, strength, and dexterity to 99, and glitches are allowed. Make sense? Yes? Perfect. Now, let's quit wasting time. We've got a challenge to beat. Ow. Oh, my head. That is the last time I ever go drinking with Solaire. At least one of those Anor Londo demons took me. This is not my house. I clearly told them to take me to the Undead Asylum, not wherever this is. Where am I? Dark Souls 2. This was my first Souls game, and I actually enjoy playing it. I also think most people trash it because that's the popular thing to do, but I digress. For my character, I chose Explorer for the adaptability, and the bonfire aesthetic because I need it. After watching Denethor eat a tomato, I was free to explore Majula. Making sure to both shatter my legs and grab the binoculars, I talked to Bear Seek Lest for Estus, and then visited the cheerful exposition man to join his covenant and get a life-increasing ring. I also need this for later. Then I did some cheat engine stuff, and totally legitimately got the twin-headed greatbow, along with 50 lightning arrows and 50 destructive arrows. After that, I went to Hade's Tower of Flame. And it was at this point I realized something. Lemon told me he wasn't going to use cheats. That means he is going to need to find a way to get the 4 Great Souls, or get 1 million souls to open the Shrine of Winter, all without using his 100 arrows. Now, Lemon is the Patience Elemental, so he will absolutely be able to do it. He might even come right here and trick these knights off a ledge over 1,000 times. I do not have his patience, or his skill, which means I need a different strategy. But how do you beat patience? That is the question that plagued me for ages. But then I figured it out. The answer is simple. Insanity. Lemon is a patient man, so he overcomes difficulties with that patience. I am an insane man, so I will replace the original difficulties with entirely new ones. In this case, I'm going to be replacing the difficulty of a normal run with the difficulty of a completely broken, glitched run. For an easy visual of what I will be doing, please observe the following diagram. But before we get to that level of exploit, let's start small and teach the Dragon Rider how to swim. Unfortunately, he got confused by my instructions and thought he needed to dive straight to the bottom of the pool. With fresh souls in my pocket, I talked to the local scam artist who told me to invest it all in her new cryptocurrency. I told her I'd think about it, and instead talked to this guy, making the completely logical investment of 10 shields. I then burned a bonfire aesthetic to bump the area to New Game Plus, which does nothing for me now, but will be useful later. Now I can open the world's fastest door. Incredible. A quick drop down, and I've entered the Forest of Fallen Giants. After a small detour to grab the buckler, I play keep away with the local weirdos. Then I have a chat with Malencia and convince her I am totally trustworthy enough to have high-yield explosives. My next immediate action is to then prove to her why I should not be trusted with high-yield explosives. Now, I don't need this item, I just need some enemies out of the way, and if you jump this gap, they remember that they only work for minimum wage, and go home. With them gone, you can make a leap of faith. Flawless. I forgot I need to be naked for this jump. Also, my character needs to remove all equipment except for the Covenant Ring to increase his health. Having survived the jump, I can grab a fragrant branch of yore and a twinkling titanite, which I will later use to upgrade my bow. I immediately use my smelly branch to unpetrify a statue, then give the nice woman actual clothes, unlike you freaks. And speaking of freaks, pulling this lever releases an army of gamers from their basements. Now to loot the Shaded Woods, getting souls and a ring that I cannot pronounce, +1. Now that I am the richest man in Majula, I can buy a fancy skirt. And, after shopping at the cat, I use my newly purchased alluring skulls and some pigs to convince Maulin to give me his clothes. It is a challenge run tradition to wear his gear, you know? And even though I don't need the soul increase, who am I to deny tradition? With that side quest done, I'm back to the forest of 3 giant trees. I'm actually going to be visiting a boss, but don't get your hopes up yet. First, I need to activate the last giant cutscene, and then leave the game immediately. Upon re-entry, I am outside the boss room, which is perfect. But first I need to put on my skirt. With that done, I parry the soldier, and then accidentally shatter his ribs. Let's try again. Parry the soldier, move forward, move back and right, riposte and jump at the same time, then move to the fog gate. Get the right angle, enter the fog and roll out, and completely fail the goal. So let's just quit out, reload. I think I may have broken it. So let's try again. This time, don't run into the fog wall as much, then use the binoculars to line up the angle. I want to just barely trigger the prompt to enter the fog. And perfect. So this glitch is multi-tiered. First, I did a parry walk, using the butterfly skirt to jump and riposte at the same time. This disconnects where I am with where the game thinks my character should be, allowing me to enter the boss fight while also leaving the arena. Because I'm logged as being in a boss fight, I have the health bar at the bottom of my screen, and all enemies are despawned until I rest at a bonfire. The next glitch is to spawn the pursuer while storing the last giant boss fight, as symbolized by the health bar. Jumping onto this ledge and then jumping past this ladder hits the invisible game trigger that causes him to be dropped in. But if I turn around and return to rest at the bonfire, returning all enemies to the original spawn point, the game tries to send him to a non-existent spawn point, killing him instantly. Now if I quit the game, I'm respawned outside the boss arena because, remember, I'm technically fighting the boss. This means I can do it all over again, and again, and again. And just like that, I have 1 million souls. And since I've proven I can do this glitch repeatedly, I'm going to cheat in any souls I need just to save me some time. Are we good with that? No? Oh well. With the Shrine of Winter open, I'm actually going to use some arrows. 1 to kill this soldier, and then 1 to kill his friend, opening the doors. Then, because I didn't map out this run, I'm going to go back to the Forest of Dead Pursuers to buy a Landgrass Key and 3 Bright Bugs. I am also upgrading my bow. With that, I can shoot and kill a very angry statue, which in turn opens the magic soul sealing door, which is a sentence I'm pretty sure I heard my old coworker say, and that dude was on something. This room is not at all creepy and totally isn't trapped. After a planned death, I remember I didn't plan this run and go to the Shaded Woods to do something stupid apparently and get stoned. There we go. That was on purpose so I could grab my souls, I swear. Another bow upgrade, and I'm back at Drang Lake for another glitch. This is the Infinite Bright Bug glitch. If you have the wet status effect, such as from rain, and use a Bright Bug, quitting the game will cause the Bright Bug to be active until you die or warp. This means infinite damage increase and damage resistance. Hey, so you're totally not evil, right? No? Good. After what was hours for me and about 10 minutes for you, I'm fighting my first boss, the Twin Dragon Riders. I actually went for the inferior archer first, because timing my attacks against the halberd user was difficult enough without Honda Civic-sized arrows being shot at me. You can see what one arrow did to his health bar, so damage was not an issue. The problem with the boss, which was shared with a couple bosses, is that they are slightly faster than my attack speed, meaning about 80% of the fight was finding an opening, while 20% was actually killing the boss. Eventually, I did find the opportunity to out-arrow the archer, which only left the melee user. And, well, that's just the regular Dragon Rider. Sure, I can't drown him in water, but I can drown him in his own failure. And arrows. So, when Vendrick was king, did people just have to climb this absurdly long ladder if they wanted to reach the rooms up here? After having a reasonable reaction to unexpected and unwelcome guests, I rode the absurdly long elevator, opened a door, ignored the zombie, and grabbed a key, naturally going to the forest of poor planning. Yeah, I should have mapped this run. Speaking of running, after that parry walk, I'm going to store momentum by running into a wall. Because the game is trying to sync my actual and supposed locations, I can run into a wall, move my supposed location in a straight line, then grab this ladder to teleport to the entirely wrong spot. The longer you run, the more momentum you gather, so I'm going to bash my head against these bricks a little more, and when I finally grab the ladder... grab the ladder. I said grab it. Come on, grab it. There we go. I'm still too short. Maybe this time? Despite appearances, this also isn't right, because I'm stuck in this wall. Now this is too far. Okay, it may not look like it, but this is perfect. Just wait for the parry walk to end. And I skip the locked door to the pursuer. Now use the friendly neighborhood hollow, run around this invisible wall, and sprint like your life depends on it, because it does. There we go. Pursuer skipped. Editor Telios here. I don't actually know if the Pursuer boss fight would have triggered because of my previous exploits. I just assumed it would and walked around it. Probably should have checked. Oopsie. Since I can access the Lost Bastille now, I light a fire to get a senile old man to move so I can rob him. Then I go into the Cave of Vapors, grab the Twinkling Titanite, and leave without issue. Hey, I need a chime. Also, are you still selling crypto? I'm convinced the blockchain is amazing, and currency that isn't backed by anything is totally a worthwhile investment. Sign me up. I talked to the local emo, buying Dark Weapon and being given the clothes off his back. Now for the hard part, getting these friendly muggers to leave me alone for about 30 seconds. Flawless. Once I get them to leave me alone, I can have a friendly chat with the invader, who kindly agrees to help me out. If you're following along at home, here's what you need to do. Parry walk, obviously, then run towards the Skeleton Lord's arena. Clip through the wall on your left, and after you walk past 3 of these big rocks, take a sharp left at the 4th one, avoiding the invisible wall, but still lining yourself up with these arches. Then move straight out, and you'll land on the raised bridge. Now, finagle around a little bit against invisible architecture, and eventually you'll just kinda phase through it, I guess, successfully skipping the Skeleton Lords entirely. Now that Harvest Valley is unlocked, I can talk to the lady with the human skull and buy 10,000 souls worth of useless junk in exchange for 1 Twinkling Titanite. With that done, I return to where it all started, things betwixt. By burning the junk I bought from Skull Lady, I actually can't remember her name, I turn the small smooth and silky stone behind the waterfall into 3 regular smooth and silky stones. Then by the power of save stating, I can trade all 3 of them at the very annoying crows, who give me 3 Twinkling Titanite. These are pounded into my bow, and I can finally get back to Elaim Lois. There's a ring that I want here, but first I'd like to clear the snow so I can see. Ordinarily you have to kill Ava, but as we all know, the bosses in this game are optional. Having thoroughly impressed and confused Aslana, she opens the door to my house, I mean the Path of Chaos, and stops the snowstorm. Now that I can see, let's skip some more enemies. Running past the normal choke point is almost impossible without killing at least one enemy, so instead I can play dodgeball for a little bit, then drop down behind some rabid dogs. Run past this guy, jump off a cliff, and get the Dark Clutch Ring off a dead body. The Dark Clutch Ring will increase my bow's dark damage while Dark Weapon is applied to it. Excuse me, Telios, but Dark Weapon can't actually be put on a great bow. Well listen, that might be true for you, but I have skill, and I know how to walk forward, roll, apply buff, change weapons. There we go. Tumble buffing. And yes, that was really hard to do on a keyboard, and took so long that I never recorded me doing it again because I did not want multiple hours of useless footage cluttering my computer. With an infinite bright bug and tumble buffed bow, I can fight the Looking Glass Knight. Despite his lightning resistance, I still use lightning great arrows because he's all wet and ready to be shocked. Damage isn't great, but it is enough. The important thing is that I do damage, dodge his attacks, and don't die, which he makes difficult by leaping across the entire arena, but what's a challenge run without the challenge? Naturally, things got harder when he invited a friend to the party, and then things just got awkward when that friend invited a friend neither of us knew and we didn't really like him but didn't know how to say it. But after a quick DIY lobotomy, the battleground became less cluttered and I was able to focus on the chrome-plated asshole taking him down. I think the worst of this challenge is behind me now. Yep, things are looking easier by the second. So it turns out you can't parry these guys, which puts a small hiccup in my plans to parry walk around them. Fortunately, I can still embrace cowardice and simply run past them. I guess waterlogged plate armor makes one pretty slow. The next part of the shrine is nice because the priestesses have a melee you can parry, meaning you can parry walk, run to this little area, start playing a bullet hell game, and then open this secret chest to get Sunlight Blade. That was planned. Parry walk again, and this time go to the left, skipping a large part of the shrine. Now the hard part. This priestess does not give enough height for me to get out of the water, so I still have the slow effect from being partially submerged. This means I can't actually get far enough to skip the giant bug that blocks the cave passage, and I may need to waste arrows killing it, which I refuse to do. I tried to move the bug and jump past it, but that failed. While contemplating what to do, these guys actually gave me the answer. They knocked me into the water, but one fell in. So, what if I tricked them into falling? What if I achieved my goal by sacrificing my life over and over again? I'll burn through my remaining humanity, becoming more and more hollow, and succumbing to the curse. But I will slowly be cursing them, too. As we both fall into a watery grave, again and again, I submit to the dark sign and embrace my fate, for I am cursed to repeat the same task mindlessly forever. But then, I stepped away from the bonfire, and my boulder was gone. The curse relented, and there were no more enemies. And with my obstacles gone, I just needed to jump. I had done it. With humanity restored, I prepared to face the Demon of Song with a stronger resolve than I had ever known. It's a giant frog, and it has no real counter to a great bow. What did you expect? This is the easiest boss fight of this challenge, which is saying something, since this challenge is pretty easy from here on out. Hey, do you mind moving? Your shields are kinda in the way. Thank you. I won't lie, I considered just skipping the entire Undead Crypt, but this isn't exactly a difficult area, so I went ahead and ran through it. If you know where you're going, you can avoid every single enemy, which is sad because the ghost spawning statues are a cool idea. What isn't cool is having to punch through all these rocks because all they really do is create artificial length for this level. Anyway, I did have to use my fists here, but that's only because these big shield guys won't move if I don't give them some percussive maintenance. Having gotten past the crypt, I ran like a madman to get as far as possible before the ghost monks wake up and ruin my day. Now it's time to talk about the bellboy. You know how I mentioned there are a few bosses who move faster than I can attack? Veldstat is the worst offender. He recovers from attacks faster than I can shoot an arrow, he moves across the arena before I can prepare an attack, and if I do hit him with an arrow, it's likely that he'll hit me before the animation is over. With these minor inconveniences in mind, it wasn't long before I know I'm doing an arrow counter instead of a death counter, so just know that I can confidently say Veldstat killed me more than every other boss combined. But instead of getting discouraged, I felt determined. I had already sunk a lot of hours and some sanity into the run at this point, and I wasn't about to let Vendrick's most devoted soldier beat me, so I kept going and got a little better each time. But I still couldn't win, so I took a break. I bought more bright bugs, because I would need them for later, returned the things betwixt, and bumped the area into New Game Plus. That way I could grab the Silky Stones again, and get more Twinkling Titanite. With a new pair of stones, my bow was finally at max damage. And then I returned to Veldstat. Slowly, I chipped away at that brick wall, and as I became more confident, Veldstat became more nervous. And, as with all brick walls, time caused those bricks to crumble, and I succeeded. The sharp metal traveling at 80 miles an hour also undoubtedly helped break down the brick wall, but, you know. It's the endgame now, and unlike the Avengers, mine is actually good. I made sure to grab lightning and dark infusion stones, then went to Aldia's torture chamber. I stared at this completely normal wall on accident, and then remembered where the illusory wall was. I lit this brazier, which in turn summoned this guy, who I'm sure has lore tying him to that particular spot. Now, does anyone know if you can do a parry walk with PvP invaders, like actual people? Because if I invaded and watched someone ignore gravity just to escape them, I would honestly have a grudging respect for them. Also, the Guardian Dragon is not a required boss, so please don't tell me I forfeit the challenge. Ordinarily, a rope would not make for a good zipline, trust me, but this one burns off your skin and allows your exposed bones to easily slide down. So, I've been thinking. The best part of being on YouTube is definitely interacting with y'all. I mean, I don't get paid for this, and I have a full-time job, so I'm not really looking to turn this into a career. But I don't really have the time to respond to comments, since full-time job and a family. And some comments also don't really merit a response. So if you'll bear with me, I do want to find ways to engage with you guys more. To that end, I would like to propose a game today. 2 truths and a lie. I do want to keep a private life, but everyone has some aspects of life that they're comfortable sharing, and this game is perfect for sharing that. I'll say my stuff here, and you guess in the comments below, and I'll reveal the answer in my next video. In exchange, go ahead and give me your best 2 truths and a lie if you want to. I'll pick some of my favorites, and at the start of the next video, we'll see if I get it right. Make sense? Good. Now let's start simple. 1. I work, or have worked, as a teacher. 2. I work, or have worked, in IT. 3. I work, or have worked, as a nurse. While you give me your best guess, and tell me if you actually like this idea, I'm going to leave the Ancient Dragon and infuse my bow with dark. Then I'll take my new heart to the Forest of Perpetual Plot Relevancy and hug a tree. Now I know I have the King's Ring and can open the door, but I really just want to show off that I can do this. After Freddy Kruegering my way into the tree's dreams, I face off against the mighty Giant Lord, who poses basically no threat. You'd think someone with his reach and his height would be able to hit me, but oh well. One final stop at the senile old man, and I infuse my bow with lightning. And now it's time for the final 3 bosses. The Throne Watcher, the Throne Defender, and Sandra. I have 38 arrows left, and unless I'm a really bad shot, that'll be more than enough to conquer all 3 of them. But, what if I don't need arrows for one of them? And to do that, I have my most important tool, this shield. After entering the boss arena, run forward to bait an attack from the defender, then run left. Go to this crumbling area of the arena, block with your shield, and wait. The Watcher will run over, and if you're lucky, will do a 3 attack combo to try and rearrange your skeleton. If you're unlucky, you won't actually do anything but get double teamed and sort of die. My second attempt was much more successful, however. Although the Watcher did taunt me by stubbornly staying safe and not falling to her death, she kinda just changed her mind and walked off the edge. and I am just now realizing that my most successful method of killing bosses is getting them to jump off a cliff. Am I really that horrible to be around? Do not answer that. With the Watcher dead, the Defender becomes much easier. While I did use a Bright Bug, I did not tumble buff because I didn't have an hour to spend in this fight trying a glitch that I just cannot master. Instead, I let my Lightning Infusion and Great Arrows do the heavy lifting for me. And let me tell you, if I thought this fight was easy enough when the boss had a shield, it got even easier when he decided to just get rid of it. Not sure what he was thinking by removing his only protection, but it was to my benefit, and a few arrows later, the throne was left unwatched and undefended. And there's only one boss left now. Nassandra, the Dark Queen. A living shard of Manus, filled with his malice and a lust for power that is most human. A product of the Abyss, and an unseen blight to the land of Draenleic. Mastermind of the land's downfall, Vendrick's greatest fear. Okay, listen, I tried to make her intro as epic as possible, but you and I both know this boss is a pushover, which is disappointing because she's the final boss, and her cutscene and design aren't terrible. She has minimal attacks and pretty much no counter to a ranged build. Now I did get cocky and was punished for it, but really the most difficult part of this fight was the time she would chase me around the arena to try and melee me. And it wasn't even properly difficult. It was really just annoying because she wouldn't stop until I let her take a swing or she did her AoE. All in all, she was still an easy boss, but she's also the final boss, and so, Nassandra, I bid thee farewell. Into the dark you go. And now I can take my throne. Wait, why are the doors closing? Can I breathe in here? Wait! And that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I successfully beat Dark Souls 2 with 87 Great Arrows. And I know there are things I could have done better, like I forgot that arrows do less damage if you don't have enough stamina, which I'm sure cost me some damage, and I didn't grab the red Tearstone ring, but that's because I didn't want to be in one-shot range the whole time. Especially since the damage increase isn't that great. But all in all, I'm really happy with my performance, and I'm excited to see what Lemon does with his run. And, once again, thank you, Lemon, for agreeing to this challenge. It's been a pleasure. As for you, my dear audience, don't forget to give me your best 2 truths and a lie, and try to guess my lie down below. And let me know if you like the idea of interactive bits in future videos. I like the idea, but it's also my idea, so I'm probably a little biased. Either way, thank you so much for watching, consider doing the YouTube stuff if you enjoyed it, and remember, the world is a better place with you in it. Later.